Hi, everyone. This is Ron D'Alessio, Vice President of Sales at CourtCall, and thank you for attending our session. We're going to talk a little bit about CourtCall, its history. We're going to talk about some of the solutions that we offer, and we're going to talk about ways that you can potentially use this in your courtrooms. So a little bit about CourtCall. First of all, we were founded in 1996 by two attorneys in Los Angeles. We have been in existence the entire time, so well over 26 years now. We have just completed our 6 millionth remote appearance. So one of the things that I like to tell people all the time is there's really not a scenario that we have not seen at CourtCall regarding audio or video remote appearances. If there is a situation that can use it, we can figure out a way to do it. If there is an issue that has come up in the past where you've tried to use this before or tried to do a remote appearance before, we can help you with a possible solution, because once again, there just isn't a scenario we have not seen or dealt with in our history since 1996. There's a lot of different uses for CourtCall. We have remote solutions for courtrooms. We have them for law enforcement agencies. So think video arraignment, where you're connecting the court to the jail or the court to the Department of Corrections. So if you're currently transporting inmates back and forth, CourtCall could be a definite way of not having to transport, saving money and security and safety and all sorts of things. We are also in traffic court and mental health courts as well. So anytime that anyone has to be brought to the courtroom for any reason, we're saying that in most cases, this can be done through CourtCall, rather than getting in a car and having to drive in, or getting them in a van and having inmates and shackle them up and bringing them in. This can all be done remotely with the security of the inmates staying in the jail, or if it's a traffic court, the driver not having to come in and take another day off of work to come into court, but rather just come in on live remotely and conduct their business and settle the matter in front of the judge, all remotely, all very clean and easy to do. We also do probation and parole hearings, pre-sentence investigative reports, all sorts of opportunities. Again, anytime there's transportation taking place, CourtCall is saying, why transport? Look at video and remote technology as a way to safely and securely handle those sessions. Now, CourtCall is the industry leader. As I stated in the previous slide, we have been in existence since 1996, which is far longer than any of the other companies that are out there. We were designed specifically for this market. I can't emphasize this enough. There's a lot of other great platforms out there, but none of them really have been designed specifically with the court or the law enforcement agency in mind. And when we show our platform, I think you're going to see that the flow of the platform, moving people in and out of sub-conferences or virtual private rooms, online waiting rooms, all these things that CourtCall is able to do, it just flows very easily and efficiently through our platform. Another thing about our platform, which is extremely important, is that we are browser-based. So you do not need to run any application. You do not need to download anything. You simply log in with the credential provided or the link provided, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But the links that we generate are dedicated to that particular courtroom at that particular time at that particular day. So unauthorized access is literally impossible with CourtCall. And if you think about the fact that we are a managed platform, which we'll also talk about here in the next couple slides, we are a managed platform so that everything is controlled for the court. So the court doesn't have to worry about unauthorized access or providing credentials or anything of that nature. Everything is handled for you by CourtCall so that the judge can worry about things that the judge needs to worry about, and managing the courtroom and things of that nature. The clerk can do the things that the clerk does rather than worrying about what attorney is in what sub-conference and what attorney is in this room or whatever it might be. CourtCall handles all that for you. The other thing I like about a browser-based platform is that the security is controlled through the browser and through the CourtCall servers. So we like to say that we are an extremely secured platform. We don't have 9 million customers like some of the other companies that are out there that are built for the business world. Remember, CourtCall was built specifically for this market, and this is all we do. So you won't see CourtCall in the business world, for example. You won't see CourtCall necessarily in the education market, but you will see us in the market that we were designed for, which is courts, law enforcement, legal. Another thing I like about this browser-based platform and the WebRTC-based platform is it's agnostic to hardware. And what that means is, very simply, you can connect with virtually any camera or audio device. So whether it's a Polycom camera or a webcam like I'm having here today, or an iPhone that has a camera built into it, doesn't matter. It can connect with virtually any type of camera system or any type of audio system as well. So if you're going to use, a Polycom phone or an iPhone to dial in on audio, or you're going to use computer audio, which has become really popular of late, no problem. It gives you the option when you receive the link, you click the link and choices are given, and you're able to select what you'd like to use. I mentioned this earlier about the managed platform, but here it is again. And it can never be understated. We are administered and managed for you by professional operators that will manage this process for the court. Everything from scheduling to billing to actually moderating the call itself is all controlled by CourtCall. So if somebody's camera, for example, starts acting up during the hearing, CourtCall's operators are there to move that person into a subconference and try to help solve the issue, or turn their camera off and let them just communicate on audio. There's lots of different scenarios that the moderators can help with on a troubleshooting angle, but even regarding scheduling and setting up the calls and communicating with your court staff, all of our people do that automatically. So just something to keep in mind and to think about as we go through this presentation. One of the things that CourtCall takes a lot of pride in is that we like to say that we're a very green company. We're very big on environmental causes. And you can see a couple of these images here. These are some of our marketing images that have to do with safety and time and cost and environmental savings. So when you think about the bus that takes the inmates back and forth between the jail or the correction facility to the courtroom, and many times those are for 2 or 3 minute sessions in front of the judge. And maybe it's a hearing about an exhibit that's going to be allowed, or setting a future court date or whatever. And so the inmate is being shackled, put on the bus. The bus is going, it could be a couple hour distance or even 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. The bus is using the environment with the oil and the gas that's being spent, plus the security of the inmate being transported back and forth. And the best chance for an inmate to escape, obviously, is when they're not in the facility. So and contraband is another thing we've heard a lot of from some of our correction customers, that, contraband, the best chance of it getting brought into the jail is through anytime the inmate is out of the jail. So if we can keep them at the jail or the correction facility, still efficiently and professionally handle their session through CourtCall, it's a win-win for all parties. Now, I want to show CourtCall in action here. I'm going to show you this video, and I'll talk through it. But what this video is something that we show at a lot of shows, but it's going to show the CourtCall platform as it is in action. And so first of all, notice that you get a single click sign on. You click the link, it takes you to this screen, which allows you to select what audio choice you want. You can call in, you can have the system call you. In this case, we selected computer audio, and then it takes you right into the platform. And you will see here, this is Matt pretending to be a judge. The judges are always going to be in a different color than the participants. So the judge is in orange here. And the judge is communicating with the CourtCall moderator through the chat window. And you see the chat bubble there lights up, and that's communication between the judge and the CourtCall moderator. The CourtCall moderator is never seen they're like the Wizard of Oz behind the scene controlling the session. So you can see Matt started the first case, and that's the judge. And so the two attorneys are brought live, and they are conducting their business. If there's other attorneys, they're in the virtual gallery. They're able to see and hear what's going on. They just can't communicate or disrupt. It's just like they're sitting in the back of the courtroom waiting for their case to be heard. You can see that the case to the left that is in green is the one that is live. There are a couple other cases on the docket for the judge, and there are participants there. And if the judge wants to see who's in there, they can click and see. Participants can enable and disable video like I did here, and I turned my video off. I'm still able to communicate, but I just had my video off. We can put people into sub-conferences or virtual private rooms. And we can also file share. So you can see an example here where the inmate, or in this case, the attorney, is sending a document through to be looked at or evaluated or talked about, whatever it might be. So there's that. We also have a DocuSign feature built into this platform. And as you can see here, we can have a document signed. So think primarily an attorney, or it could be an inmate that needs to have something signed. We can do that through DocuSign. When the case is over, the judge can simply request the court call start the next case, and you can see the second one to the left has turned green, and now we have a new attorney live on the screen talking to the judge. And again, the attorneys are always going to be in a different color as a background, so they're blue. The judge is always going to be in orange, and you can see that the judge is looking to see if there's any other attorneys that might be involved in this case, also communicating with the court call moderator if they want to bring them live. And so you can see the judge went and jumped to case 3, and now there's another participant there that is talking with the judge and handling their business. Everybody else, again, is in a virtual waiting room, waiting for their case to be brought live in front of the judge. And as I mentioned earlier, the green highlight signifies that we are live with that particular case. Remember, the participants don't have to be on video. It could be just audio if they want, or any combination of. It doesn't matter. Another question that's been asked before is how many video windows can we have? Actually, we can have up to as many as 90, but we don't really think you should go past 10. There's too many video windows going. It's just too complicated, but the system can handle pretty much as many as you need. And as you can see here, on request, the moderator can bring everyone live. So if there's a case where the judge wants to make a blanket statement to everybody, the judge simply says, hey, court call, bring everybody live. And all the windows appear just like you see here. They're all able to communicate if needed, or they can all be muted, however the judge wants to do it. But it's great for a general announcement or a discussion that everybody can be brought live. And again, this is all through the browser. It's a browser-based platform, so there's no downloads or having to run any applications or anything like that. Everything flows really nicely through the browser, and you can see the judge. And actually, all participants can move images around like you're seeing on the screen. So the way I have my screen might be different the way Counselor Alvarado has his. It doesn't matter. It's just totally user controlled, which is very nice. Or you can just click the default button as the judge did, and everything is brought back to the way it was at the start. You can also preview videos if you want. And that's just if you want to see the camera before you wind up going live. One click from the moderator stops the case and returns everybody to the virtual gallery. And you can see the judge is sending a thank you to the moderator, saying thanks for helping or thank you for moderating today. And it's great because the judge really didn't have to do anything other than handle the business of the session. So all the moving around and all the starting and stopping of cases, all of that can be done just by verbally telling the court call moderator what you want to do. Now, there's a number of benefits about court call that we think are important and need to be talked about. First of all, crowded courtrooms and increased security. This is obviously a major issue right now in many of the courts across the country. Crowded courtrooms used to be the primary one, but obviously we've seen security issues a lot in the news lately. And obviously the less people you have in the court, the more secure in reality it is. And so if there's opportunities to use court call to not have to transport inmates or bring attorneys or expert witnesses or whatever live to the court, it's a great thing. Now, listen, there's always going to be a need in certain stages of a court case for everyone to be live, and CourtCall understands that. And that's why the nice thing about CourtCall is it's optional. The judges can choose to use it if and when they want to. It's not mandatory, although some judges do make certain parts of the hearings or of the cases mandatory on CourtCall, but that's totally up to the judge's discretion. The judge has full control on when and if CourtCall is used. We like to say that we offer a more efficient case flow. And, just when you, especially in the busy courts where you may have 20 or 30 status conferences, for example, going at a particular day, this just helps you very much organize and flow through those cases very efficiently, very professionally. We like to say that we increase public access. One of the things that we are now offering is a broadcast feature. So not only the public being able to come in to handle some of their cases on their own, but also if these are matters of public record and the court wants to broadcast this out across the internet so that anyone that can click on their website and click a link on the website and get access to a particular courtroom is able to see and hear what's going on as if they went into the courtroom themselves and sat in the back of the room and watched, which a lot of times you're allowed to do. And again, we go back to that crowded courtrooms and increased security button at the top. We can do that through what's called our broadcasting feature. And I'd be happy to talk with you about that at the end of this session or at another day. But it's just simply making these sessions available to the general public. And there's lots of ways to do it. We have a very clean and professional way to do it, and we'd be happy to talk about that. Another benefit of CourtCall's remote appearance platform is we have more efficient courtroom logistics. And I mentioned this earlier, but a lot of times the clerk is the one responsible to manage these calls on their own. And we're saying, why do that? The clerk has enough stuff to do to manage the cases for the judge. And we're saying, let CourtCall do that. So whether it comes to scheduling the appearances, communicating with the attorneys, testing with the attorneys, and then at the day of the actual hearing, bringing the attorneys live in front of the judge and making sure that they're all there. So if the session starts at 10 and it's 5 minutes to 10 and 3 of the attorneys aren't there yet in the virtual waiting room, our CourtCall staff will contact them and say, hey, your session's starting. Is there an issue? And so we do all that work so that the clerk and the judge do not have to. Now, there's 2 types of services that we offer for remote appearances. One of them is the privacy platform, and the other is what we call open court. Privacy means that the judges who wish to conduct their CourtCall proceedings in a private manner in chambers. On the privacy program, a moderator remains on the call for the duration and serves as the virtual clerk for the judge. And they will only bring people live that are supposed to be live in that case. A lot of times we'll see attorneys that may, want to get into their session even though they didn't get permission to beforehand. Things like that CourtCall will not allow to happen. If you're not on the docket and had been approved beforehand, you're not getting into that session. The other service we offer is open court. And that's where we actually simulate the courtroom experience, where everyone who is present is able to hear and see what's going on. So it's like I had mentioned earlier, if you're an attorney and your case is in, sometime in the morning, and you're just going to go sit in the back of the courtroom and wait until your case is called, you're able to see and hear what's going on. So we can do whatever the judge wants. And that's one of the things that I really want to hammer home today is whatever the judge wants to have happen in terms of process, CourtCall can replicate. So we like to say that we replicate the courtroom experience. And that's what we're trying to do remotely. So if the judge wants things a certain way, that's the way we're going to do it remotely. And it means a lot of customization, but that's what we do. And that's where the whole beauty of CourtCall rests, and that we can customize as needed so that the judge or the hearing agency or whoever it might be can have the remote appearance exactly as best as we can replicate the experience as if they were live in front of them. Now, I had mentioned earlier, we also have a video arraignment platform that we have started to use, and we started this about 5 years ago to connect the courts to the jails and the Department of Corrections. The nice thing about the way CourtCall does it is we protect the due process rights of in-custody defendants through accurate and clear video and audio. And we do not disrupt the court proceedings. So, like I said to you guys at the very beginning of the presentation, there's not many things that CourtCall has not seen regarding this over the year, regarding remote appearances or arraignments or anything that has to do with remote technology. We've seen it all. And so we can help fewest disruptions as possible. And that's even working to schedule when the inmates are going to be brought in front of the particular kiosk, or when the session is going to be held and where the inmates are. All those kinds of things that require an immense amount of coordination, we're able to help do. We also permit confidential attorney-client communications through our platform. We call this virtual private rooms. You saw a little bit of it in the video that we showed before, but we can take an attorney and the inmate at the jail or the corrections facility, and they're on camera with the judge, but we can take the attorney and the inmate and move them into a virtual private room. They're able to see and hear each other, but the judge is not able to see or hear them. If there was recording taking place, there would not be recording of that virtual room. It's as if we walked out and went into the hallway and had a hallway conversation outside of the room. It's exactly the same experience. And remember, I talked earlier about replicating the courtroom experience. This is another example of that. So we're able to do that, and we can do that in multiple parties. We have multiple rooms available. They can have any number of people in them, depending on how you want to set it up. And CourtCall will handle all that for you, or the court can choose to manage it themselves, or the Department of Corrections. There's lots of ways to do it, but the key is it's very easy and very efficient through the CourtCall platform. Another really important point, and you saw this again in the video we just showed a minute ago, we DocuSign. And DocuSign is built into the CourtCall platform. So you don't have to exit the program and go into something else and get a document signed. You can simply upload the document through the platform, send it to everyone on the call, or maybe you just want to send it to one person. You have that flexibility. You send the document, the person receives a notification on the screen that there's a document to be signed. Click it, the document pulls up, you digitally sign it, DocuSign verifies it, we send it back to the court or whoever initiated the request. They can print it, they can put it into their document management system, they can put it in their case management system, whatever they want to do with it at that point. CourtCall does not keep that document. We also file share. We don't keep that document either. So if you send a Word document through that you just want everybody to see and then nothing needs to be signed or anything, or a picture of an exhibit, whatever it might be, none of those are kept by CourtCall. At the end of the session, our servers delete those files. So it's truly a pass-through. Again, there's that security thing I'm talking about. It's just a pass-through that the court can control the document or the DOC can control it, and then it's yours to handle. We like to say that we reduce in-custody transportation costs for these brief arraignments that take place. And again, everything is done through links and secured technology and a secured platform. All our servers are in the United States. It never leaves the country. It's all controlled through the browser and through CourtCall's servers platform. One of the things I had mentioned earlier, and I want to talk about it here, is kiosks. And when I'm talking about kiosks, it's primarily at the Department of Corrections or the jail side. But if you think about it, you don't want to have a laptop in there to have a video appearance in front of the judge. There's too many things that the inmate can do. Yeah, you could lock the laptop down, but the inmate might be able to pick it up and use it as a weapon, or they might break it or bang on it or kick it. There's all kinds of things that can happen. And so what we've developed is a kiosk, and there's different kinds of kiosks, and we use a multitude of them, but depending on the use or the need of the correction facility or the jail. But we've created a kiosk that allows you to communicate securely and professionally to the court. And it's a totally encased unit. So there's nothing sticking out other than there is a fingerprint scanner on there. And the fingerprint scanner is neat because it allows us to affix a fingerprint to a document as well. And the fingerprint scanner can actually be used for a lot of different things. So the inmate walks up and scans their finger. It's going to verify them through the local database that we may set up for the court. And the reason I say may is some people want us to use it and some don't in this regard, but it could be used to validate the inmate. But what it can be used for right now as well is to take that inmate's fingerprint and stick it on the document that they're signing through DocuSign. So let's just say that the court sends an inmate a terms of release document. The inmate can actually on the kiosk sign with their finger on the screen, and then it will also take their fingerprint and stick the fingerprint on the document so that when the court prints it out or saves the document, they not only have a verified signature, they have a verified fingerprint as well. That is definitely the inmate, it is definitely their signature, and it's definitely their fingerprint that matches with the inmate. And the nice thing, again, you never leave the CourtCall platform. So you talk about ease of use, you can't really get any easier than that. And as I mentioned, we have lots of different types of kiosks. We have a wall-mounted version, we have a full standing version, we have a version that will print out the document so that the inmate can actually take it when they leave. There's lots of different ways to do it. Again, we'll customize it accordingly, but it's a really nice feature and a very secure feature as well. Another benefit is we simplify court proceedings and obviously improve administrative efficiency. And there's any number of ways that can be explained, but just not having to transport back and forth. I mentioned green earlier on this presentation as well. We reduce fuel usage and other transportation and environmental impacts because you don't have to transport as much. Like I said earlier, though, there's always going to be cases where the inmate needs to be at the courtroom, or the attorney for that matter needs to be at the courtroom. But many times they don't. And that's really where we can help save time and money and environmental issues. Fingerprint scanning to document, I mentioned earlier. Again, the key thing to remember here is you do not have to leave our platform. So the inmate signs their fingerprint, gets on the document, the whole time you're within the CourtCall platform. So there's no chance of the inmate getting outside of the system and doing something else. It's locked down and clean and easy and efficient. Okay, if you currently have a video conferencing or audio conferencing solution, here are a few reasons that you would want to upgrade to CourtCall. And you can see some of these we've already talked about. The main ones I want to focus on is the fact that we're a WebRTC browser-based solution. You do not need any plugins to connect. So a lot of times with other companies, and they all have good solutions, it's just you click the button, or you're told to go to a meeting and then it says run the application. That doesn't happen with CourtCall. You click the link, it takes you in, it gives you the audio choice screen, and you can choose what audio device you want to come in on. And then from there, it takes you into the meeting room. One thing I didn't mention yet, and I was saving it for this screen, but on the arraignment side, a lot of companies are doing, the basic, here's a link, and away you go. But what we found is that, especially with kiosks, scheduling them is very, very complicated. You have multiple parties wanting to get a hold of that particular time slot with the inmate. It used to be just the court connecting to the inmate. Now you have the court, you have the inmate, you have the attorneys, you have victim witness groups, you have social workers, you have probation officers. All these different parties are trying to connect to the session. And so you may have multiple kiosks in a particular facility located at different parts of the facility. And the question is, where do you put them? Or how do you know that inmate A is at kiosk 1 at 9 o'clock? And if you do know, then how does everybody else find out? And so what CourtCall has created is a scheduling platform for the kiosks. And it simply allows the court or the Department of Corrections, or it could be the jail. Again, there's lots of ways to set it up, but one of them will simply schedule a particular kiosk. And it alleviates the problem of multiple judges trying to get a hold of one kiosk. It's really nice and very efficient and very clean. As I mentioned earlier, and I want to hammer home about this as well, we offer virtual private rooms. And so other platforms offer this, but it's a lot more complicated than ours is. With ours, you get a visual clue of who is in what room and when they're brought back, they're notified that they're coming back live so they can get themselves ready. They have a few seconds to get organized or whatever it might be. But again, very professional, very clean, and we are built for this market. And this is a perfect example of this. Sure, other companies, I should say, can do this, but they don't do it as cleanly and as professionally as CourtCall does. I mentioned broadcasting earlier, and I have here broadcasting through a safe and secure platform. We can broadcast. What we do is we'll generate a link that is put on the court's website. It's usually the court. It could be the county, but there's lots of places you can do it. But we'll take this generated dedicated link that we have, and the court puts it on their website. And then anytime the court wants to make a session public, they simply can click a button, and everything that's CourtCall related will be broadcast live. So that means that everyone outside of the courtroom that has access to that link is able to see and hear what is going on. They cannot participate, they just can watch and listen. We have a disclaimer on the broadcast screen that you're not supposed to record this. So that's there on the screen at all times. But really there's no interaction between the general public or whoever clicks that link and the actual session. Feature summary real quick. So all of these things I've talked about already, but the key being that A, we're a managed platform. Operators are there to help control the call. They're also there to help set up and arrange the calls through our platform so that at 9 o'clock on Tuesday, when the judge is ready for their remote sessions, they click the link, they come up on the screen, all their attorneys are in the virtual waiting room, and they say, hey, CourtCall, please bring case 125 live. And then boom, those 2 attorneys or 3 attorneys or whoever appear live on the screen, everybody else in a virtual waiting room. WebRTC backbone allows for virtually any camera audio connection. Virtual private rooms, DocuSign, again, built into the platform. So you never have to leave the platform to have the document signed. Chat features, you saw this a little bit in the video, but you can chat with the CourtCall moderator. The court can chat with the attorneys. The court can choose just one attorney to chat with, not all of them. Any number of ways to do it. We have a recording feature built into our platform as well. This is host control. So an attorney, for example, can't start a recording. A judge can, or whoever is given host credentials can. We offer screen sharing as well. Again, that's a host control function. So the host can designate somebody to screen share. So if they want to give permission to an attorney to show their screen for some reason, they can. Most people, though, honestly, just file share or DocuSign. But the screen sharing is there if needed. I talked about the kiosks and how we can customize them to fit your needs. And I also talked about the fingerprint scanning. And again, the key with that is that you never leave the platform to fingerprint scan or to DocuSign. So everything stays within the platform, which is actually really nice. I'm going to stay on for the remainder of this session to answer any questions you have or have any comments. You have both Bob Alvarado, who is our CEO, and myself, and we will be happy to answer any questions you have. So thank you for your time and have a great day.